Good evening and welcome to another week of the SMRC eSports Summer Cup, brought to you by Sim Broadcast and powered by Reese Motorsport Insurance. Duncan, Vincent here in the virtual commentary box, all alone this week. Andy Alston has left the commentary box and he has taken a week off, as he's very much entitled to, but don't worry, I'll keep things rolling here and we'll be backed up by Pete Butcher, who is the man behind Sim Broadcasts. So Donington Park National Circuit tonight. After a Snetterton crash bang wallop, we have a slightly depleted field as we have a little look at qualifying and the schedule that's going on. But there you go, you can see us with Donington National on July the 14th. We will go to Silverstone International. Unfortunately, the Knockhill round hasn't materialised, round number 5. We did hold off as long as we could, but something really needed to be put in place, and Silverstone International will take the place of the Knockhill event. Hopefully Knockhill will feature on one of the calendars in the not too distant future. And we finish this Summer Cup by going to Brands Hatch on the 11th of August. So make sure you've got all these dates firmly marked in your diary. The TCR Audi, let's talk about it. In fact, let's look at the weather first of all. Track temperature just now 33°C. So the track temperature probably a little bit cooler than what they're used to, and air temp 18 degrees. Now, what does that mean? That means there will be a little bit more grip out there than they've been normally used to. If they've been practicing on a slightly higher track temperature, the grip does tend to deteriorate when the track gets too hot, becomes a little bit slippy, a little bit kind of slidey and lady. So 33 will be just fine, and yeah, qualifying is now underway. But let's talk about this car because it is a bit of a specialist topic, this Audi. A few people really have been getting on with it and falling in love with it, but then a lot of people have been struggling big time with it. As we have a look at the championship standings here coming up in front of us, right at the very top, Stuart McFadden leads the way in his Pure Sims eSport Audi with 296 points. And he leads Fraser Williamson in the Movano Sim Racing team. He's got 238. McFadden in this car, I'm not going to say he's untouchable because that's not fair on anybody else out there, but he does have he's got a couple of tenths in his pocket every time we get in the car. Adam Brown in a fine third place ahead of Michael McPherson. Jack Ayre up there as well, but Jack has had a bit of a Summer Cup that he probably wanted to forget, to tell the truth. As we have a little look at Michael Weddle in the background, there's the rest of the championships come through. And let's have a look at qualifying now, because 2 minutes 46 seconds 47 have gone, and Cameron G. Ritchie goes to the top. Now, there was a bit of a debate whether Cameron was actually going to show up tonight. He's just had a tender operation, so let's hope he doesn't do himself any injuries on his sim rig if he gets a little bit animated with a few tugs of oversteer which he has to throw at that wheel. But good stuff to see Cameron here. He's been around the actual real racing paddock for quite some time. A very well-respected mechanic in the ICR camp and now over in PCR. So there you go. Ian Cowie and Paul Curtis, both very happy to have Cameron Ritchie around. Stuart McFadden is back at the top, and there he is there, the number 53 car, who unfortunately hasn't given us an onboard lap. Something went wrong. These things do sometimes happen. Nobody's fault, but we don't have an onboard lap to give you. But what our amazing directors back at Sim Broadcast are going to try and do here, the production team, they're going to try and pick up an onboard with one of these drivers as he is going round, and we will give you the commentary lap live. Rather than a pre-recorded show, it will be live. And who knows, it might just be this man here that we jump on board with. But yeah, we've talked about the car being a kind of specialist car, and this man here really has fallen in love with it. He has just got the couple of tenths in his pocket on absolutely everybody. But having said that, at Snetterton, you can be fast as you like, but you've got to be clever about it as well. And the reverse grid race didn't really work out that great for Stuart McFadden. He did fight his way through, but it has shown, and we saw this at Oulton Park, that he is beatable. As we go through Redgate just now with Stuart McFadden on board with the number 53 car, heading down through the top of Hollywood, flat out all the way around here. Keep it tight to the inside before you get to the Craner curves. Big gulp of breath going through here as you come down towards the old hairpin and get the car back to the right and then get as much of that apex curve as you possibly can before you come through the old hairpin underneath Starkey's Bridge, flat out right-hander up towards Swant's Curve. You're climbing all the way through here. There's the Swant's Curve there, in towards McLean's, braking, bang bang, down a gear, maybe 2 gears, over a lot of apex curve, and then out towards the exit curve. You climb up towards Coppice. It's a late blind apex. Where is it? There, it's there, over the crest of the hill. Then let the car use as much road as you're willing to let it use, but don't run wide down the straight. You come towards the National chicane, which is the Roberts chicane as we come down towards it here. The Foggy S's goes to the left. We're going to the right into this one. A lot of curb on the inside, a lot of curb on that side, and then a slight crest as you come back onto the straight. And that's a lap of Donington on board with Stuart McFadden. And thank you, Mo. That was well picked up. That was well timed. And McFadden still top of the times with 112.3 ahead of Michael Weddle, Fraser Williamson, Jack Eyre, and Rory Bryant in the top 5. Now, I sounded a bit surprised there, and I think that's justified. Rory hasn't got on very well with this car, and he will be the first to admit that he possibly doesn't put enough practice in that he should. But maybe old Bryant's been burning the midnight oil in the Bryant household. He's just been bumped down to 6th place as Michael McPherson has gone above him. But Rory Bryant showing very well ahead of Sam Corson, Nathan Lamond, John Higgins, and John Duncan rounding out the top 10 just now. John Higgins Jr. in 9th place. The MSR driver, where's his teammates? Let's have a little look further down the field. Aidan Wilson, can't even see him on the timing screen, so no Aidan. Did I get a message from him saying he's actually withdrawn? I can't remember now. But here's Michael McPherson, the white and kind of lurid green with black flashes. That's a trademark for Michael McPherson. His helmet's very much like that in real life as well. As he's making his way around just now, 5th place. He'll be quite happy with that 5th place, although he will want to get a little bit further up if he can, but it's all about getting yourself in a banker. James McIntosh, who appeared on the scene, RPM Racing, at Snetterton, and unfortunately was involved in one of the accidents going in towards the tight hairpin. I believe James got a bit of a nudge in the back and it set him a little bit loose on the brakes, and then the kind of pinball effect was very visible for myself, Andy Alston, and everybody who was watching to see. So James back for another shot at Donington as Nathan Lamond hits the Control-Delete button there. And this is John Duncan, JD Bear, as my good friend Dave Christie likes to call him. No Dave Christie tonight, actually. The Camber media guru somewhere else. And I think this is a track that Dave would have excelled on. He's raced in the real world here, so we'll find out why he's not here. But 7 minutes off this session gone. McFadden sits top from Michael Weddle now into 2nd place with Jack Eyre, Williamson and Rory Bryant back into the top 5 for Rory Bryant. Here is the injured man just now. In fact, we're back to Jack Eyre now. Jack finishing off a lap here, currently in P3. What can he do with this one? He's heading for the pit lane. No, so Jack Eyre has had enough of that. Into the pits as Cameron Ritchie goes as well. McFadden with that 112.2, 4/10 up the road from Michael Weddle. Let's have a little look further down as well, because Cameron Ritchie just went to the pits. He's just ahead of Jackie Chalmers, Martin Buchan, Sean Dobie, Stuart Wyness, Scott Smith, not Kill's very own Scott Smith, all the way down in 19th place for Scott as McIntosh appears back on the screen. And he's ahead of Del Smith, David Bolton, Mark Heron, Russell Wheatley, Robert McGregor, the second MSR driver, down in 24th, Jonathan Glover and John Proctor. So 26 cars with us tonight. As you will notice, that is quite down on what we usually field. A few people thinking maybe are we taking a week off, or maybe just not gelling with the car and having a control reset themselves before they come back. But we're well into the last 2 minutes of this session now as James McIntosh takes us in towards the National Chicane. Nice bit of apex curb. You can hear him picking the throttle up and squeeze it hard out towards the exit curb. Keeps the wheel as straight as he possibly can. James in 7th place just now in car 436 down towards Redgate. Very famous corner this. The old Redgate bar. No longer with us, but you can see the hospitality suites in the background there. And look at that picturesque view as you go through the top of Hollywood here. If you've never been to Donington Park, you really do need to go. It's a place you would love. As James McIntosh possibly going through the old hairpin just now. I'm just trying to have a look at the live timing that's going on as well here. There's not a lot happening on the live timing. We've got James McIntosh, Mark Hearn, Sean Dobie and Dale Smith on track just now. A lot of other cars in the pit lane, and as we're towards the end of the 9-minute mark, it looks like the grid is effectively set. McFadden looks like he's almost on for another pole here. He's got to hang on for just a couple of more seconds, and we'll see where James McIntosh can fit in as he goes down the straight for one more time. The lower track temperatures maybe letting you get a little bit more out of the tyres towards the end of the race. Now, there is a special paint job out there tonight. We need to look for 666 Martin Buchan during the racing. Martin sporting a very Italian-esque paint job, much to our my friend south of the border who will be loving that one. The checker flag was out. We'll cover Martin Buchan's paint job later on. The checker flag was out just now. And we wait for the results to come up, but we do know that McFadden is on pole position. The front row of the grid will be McFadden and Weddle. And then Jack Eyre will be on row number 2 with Fraser Williamson. Rory Bryant on the third row with Michael Weddle, James McIntosh and Sam Corson, with John Duncan and Nathan Lamond in 9th and 10th, and John Higgins and Andrew McKinley 11th and 12th on the grid. A good showing for Junior and a good showing for McKinley. Ryan Smith, Cameron Ritchie, Mark Hearn and Jackie Chalmers. With Martin Buchan, Sean Dobie, Stuart Wyness, Scott Smith in 20th place, who will be scratching his head just ahead of Dale Smith, Davy Bolton, Russell Wheatley and Robert McGregor, also 1.6 off, won't be happy being down there. Jonathan Glover and John Proctor round out the complete grid. And we are getting ready here for race number 1 at the Donington Park National Circuit for the SMRC Summer Cup. A couple of cars still to come to the grid. We can see the front row is not complete. So Michael Weddle will be needing to make himself pretty quick smart there. And then we'll be going, remember, we will be picking the Reese Motorsport Insurance Driver of the Day as Weddle finally appears on the grid. A full grid of 26 cars. Here we go. Waiting for the lights to come on. Full complement of lights. And away we go down towards the first corner. Will McFadden get himself that famous trademark good start? Yes, he does. And he pulls across in front of Weddle. Jack Eyre in third place just now. They're 3 wide behind, and that's Williamson, Bryant and McPherson. And they all managed to get through the corner with no contact, which is good, which is what we need a little bit of. People not going through gaps and little areas which really don't exist and trying to force the issue has not really been going down too well in the chat rooms. That looks like McIntosh quite tight into the back of John Duncan. Going in there's contact at the old hairpin. And who's that? That's McIntosh actually that goes off. There's a little bit of contact and off goes James McIntosh. Martin Buchan up to 11th place in all of that. And that's Rory Bryant who we're looking at just now. Bryant with McPherson trying to go underneath him through the apex of McLean's. And they're flying in formation up towards the top of the hill. John Higgins Jr., car number 5 on the outside. That's never a good place to be. Don't put yourself in a situation where you will get run off the road as they go down the back straight for the first time. Andrew McKinley in there as well in a pretty lovely Gulf liveried car as you come in towards the hairpin. John Duncan up the inside of John Higgins. A little bit of rubbing racing there. That's going to put Higgins over the curb. It's going to make him slow on the exit of the corner. He's going to lose a couple of places, if not 3. 666. Martin Buchan might have just enough in the tank to get past Higgins in towards the first corner. Higgins covers that one very, very aggressively. And through they go. Rory Bryant still trading paint with Michael McPherson, 27 and 16, as they go in towards the top of Hollywood. But all this at the time, well, all of this, look at that, though. Stu McFadden pulling away at the front as Jack Eyre misses the apex at the old hairpin. Fraser Williamson starts to gain as they go through Starkey's Bridge up towards Swans Curve. And behind Fraser, Michael Weddle very much in the position, the sniper's position, you could say. Up the inside, good move from Fraser Williamson. Dives through there, but gives enough room so there's no contact on the entrance to the corner or the exit of the corner. How close do you like your TCR racing as we go through Coppice onto the back straight? Eyre, Williamson and Weddle. Well, they're properly glued together here. Williamson looks like he's just got an overlap on Jack Eyre. Is he going to be strong on the brakes? But Jack managing to hold position and good speed through the corner there. He gets away with that. But Michael Weddle on the optimum racing line, he will have a good drive down that straight. But as we go to the blimp cam, unable to do anything for it as they hit the brakes for Redgate, turn number 1. Williamson thinks about the inside, but unable to. All this battling with these guys has released the McFadden, and he's pulling away all the time. He's already going through the crane of curves down towards the old hairpin. The battle is definitely on for second, third and fourth. The podium is getting fixed right here. And then behind that, we've got Rory Bryant in 5th place, picking up with Rory, and he's just holding off Michael McPherson and everybody else in the race by the looks of things. Andrew McKinley, John Duncan, Cameron Ritchie, all involved in this one as well. Just behind that, we've got John Higgins holding on to 10th place at the moment. And then a little gap back to the special livery for Martin Buchan. The Italian tricolour. There we go. We get a little bit of it on camera. And Martin's gone and pushed the board out for this one. Clearly a football fan. I can't remember who had the Yes Sir I Can Boogie car. I think it might have been Sean Dobie, was it? That'll come back to me later on anyway. Was it Martin again? It probably was Martin actually, wasn't it? I need to get that one correct. But through the chicane goes Martin Buchan in his tricolor car. Look at this man here at the front, pulling away, all on his own. Little flash off the lights there because he doesn't want to have... Was that John Proctor leaving the pit lane? Doesn't want John Proctor getting in the way. And Williamson's into second place now. But a mistake mid-apex for Fraser Williamson has let Jack Ayre get back through at the top of Hollywood. As they go down through the Craner Curves, a fabulous, iconic piece of racetrack, the Craner Curves. Going through there, fabulous. Fabulous to watch, fabulous to drive or ride. As they come back under the flat-out left-hand kink, which is Starkey's Bridge, climb up the hill towards the Schwantz curve. It tightens mid-corner, and you've got to get the car positioned for McLean's. There used to be a bad bump in Apex right there, but they've smoothed that out over the years. As we look a little bit further back down, John Higgins still fighting off Martin Buchan, and that's Cameron Ritchie just up the road from John Higgins. And Cameron Ritchie, the injured warrior, doing a cracking job being inside the top 10 just now. As we go back to Blimp Cam, McFadden, he's not even in the screenshot now, is he? Stuart McFadden, the Pure Sims racer, has checked out, and 4.5 seconds is the gap at the front now. Stuart McFadden has just gelled with these cars. His fastest lap of the race is a 1:12.3, and he is, well, the other guys, the best lap that they've done is a 1:12.7, a 1:12.8, and a 1:12.9. So McFadden really is stretching his legs at the front. Once he gets clear air, he's dangerous as John Duncan goes up the inside of Cameron Ritchie. Speaking of dangerous, JD Bear has almost completed the move. He's side by side through the top of Hollywood. He's a little bit tapping the back quarter of Cameron Ritchie. That's going to upset him going through the kind of curves. And he's having to defend in towards Old Hairpin. But Cameron Ritchie holds that one out from John Duncan in number 24. John Duncan, is he almost sporting a little bit of an Audi HB colour scheme there? Maybe I'm thinking too hard about that actually. As we look at the background, something happens to Jack Ayre. Jack Ayre pulls across, and does he let Fraser Williamson go? Well, I very, very much doubt that. But, well, will the two Rethink Racing drivers now work together? The two being Ayre and Weddle. They haven't in the past, and they maybe should have. But let's see how they get on just now. Down towards the Robert chicane. Williamson's brilliant on the brakes, and in fact, he's going in too quickly. He's gone in far too quickly. Missed his braking marker. Commentators curse saying he's good on the brakes. He did seem to extend his advantage on the brakes, but he's lost 2 positions in that one corner. So Fraser Williamson, all the hard work that he's done at the beginning, now puts himself off the back of the podium, and Michael McPherson is catching. Michael McPherson on that last lap was a full 2 seconds faster than Williamson, clearly because he made a mistake, but also faster than Ayre and Weddle. We're on board with Michael McPherson just now. Down towards the Old Hairpin, you can see the helmet in the wing mirror, or the rearview mirror, sorry, very similar to the colour scheme on the car. Just listen to the Audi climb through Schwantz curve as we now jump up towards Jack Ayre. A bit of onboard action as he catches up to the back of John Proctor, maybe moving out the way there. Doing a good job of staying out the way. As you can see, the line of TCR cars from second place almost right down to, well, I think I saw Jonathan Glover on the back of that there, to tell you the truth. But McFadden, 6.6 seconds up the road. Really, that's almost rude. Side by side, John Duncan and John Higgins Jr. Higgins is going to take that position. He's on the inside. He brakes late enough. A little bit of contact on the way in. And Martin Buchan there to pick up any pieces. Good manoeuvre from Higgins. Squeezing John Duncan on the brakes, and that's made John now lay on the straight. That looks like Scott Smith has come alive and woken up in this as well. He's got himself up to 12th place on the outside, going in towards Redgate, and that's getting very, very close and very tight there as you go past the huge gravel trap that Redgate now has. And buckle up tight as you go over the top of Hollywood down through the Craner curves. Weddle is still ahead of Williamson, and Jack Ayre is actually pulling away from these two now. Fraser Williamson can see and can feel the urge and the need to get ahead of that number 7 car that Michael Weddle is driving the wheels off just now, because he can see that 13 Jack Ayre is disappearing up the road as we go back towards this. That's Robert McGregor involved in this, going up the inside of Scott Smith. Scott Smith tags the back of Buchan. Off goes Martin Buchan through the gravel, grass and into the tyre wall. And that is the end of that. Scott Smith maybe just with his eye off the ball there. And he was watching Robert McGregor coming in behind him, and unfortunately tags the back of Martin Buchan. So the new paint scheme not bringing Martin Buchan much luck. Getting a great view of that was 94 Ryan Smith. I wonder if we get a replay of that, actually. It'd be good to find out just exactly what it looked like from the back. But as they come over the line again, let's pick a replay up now. As they come down a little bit further back, but this would be good to see because you can see that Scott Smith was side by side through the old hairpin. That's a brave manoeuvre. They managed to give each other good racing room there. So Scott right now is really concentrating on what McGregor's doing. He'll be looking in his rearview mirror and his wing mirror. You'll see McGregor come up inside and bosh. Unfortunately, the car in front was Buchan, and that new paint job covering tyre wall damage now. Back to the front note. 9 minutes gone of this race, and it's Stuart McFadden at the front, tearing his way up towards Coppice. He'll be on the back straight now, as we are back in 5th place with number 16, Michael McPherson. McPherson gaining on Fraser Williamson, and Williamson needs to make a manoeuvre. They've both caught back up with Jack Eyre, who had a couple of tenths in his pocket, but that has drifted away as he come down towards the chicane. We're at the business end of this race now. If they're going to make a manoeuvre, the manoeuvre needs to happen quite quickly and soon. Everybody taking the curbs here. Williamson very aggressive, going to cost himself drive. And yeah, look at McPherson. Good drive through the chicane there, but he's going to have to try and go the long way around because Williamson puts his car on the inside, and that has released Weddle onto the back of Jack Eyre now. As we come through the top of Hollywood, down towards the Crater Curves. This looks like it's the battle now with a couple of more minutes of this race still to go. We're 10 minutes through, 5 to go. That's not going to affect Stuart McFadden. He's got another maybe 2 or 3 laps to do. But things are really starting to get hot, shall we say, in the kitchen down here as Michael Weddle all over the back of Jack Eyre. Williamson has got huge pressure from young Michael McPherson, and lurking, if I can say that, lurking is number 27, Rory Bryant, who doesn't have much in the way of pressure behind him, but Rory does have a bit of internal pressure because he can see that little gap in front of him that Michael McPherson has put into him, and if he could just close that gap over these next 5 minutes, who knows what will happen. But look at this into the chicane. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, all in shot just now. Cameron Ritchie, the last of the cars, chasing Andrew McKinley over the line. Then there's a big gap back to John Higgins, John Duncan, Robert McGregor, Scott Smith et al. Through Redgate they come. Who will get the podium? Who is going to join Stuart McFadden on the podium here, on our virtual podium? As we come through, once again, the top of Hollywood, down through the Craner Curves. This is a good overtaking manoeuvre, but you've got to have a good run on the car in front to get through there. Everybody line astern. The man who is on the move here big time is Michael McPherson. He's bridged the gap to Williamson. He clearly has the pace, as we see one of the aeroplanes taking off from the Midlands airport in the background there. That's good, I like that. And that there used to be an old story that Donington was always slippy around about this area because it was right over the flight path from the planes taking off. Believe that if you want. If I'd have crashed there, I'd have used that as an excuse as well. Down the back straight we come. Jack Eyre, Michael Weddle, Fraser Williamson and Michael McPherson. And Fraser feels the need to dive out there from the slipstream. Maybe trying to get some air through the car. The car may be running a bit hot because he's been tucked under the bumper of Michael Weddle for quite some time now. 12 minutes into this 15-minute race. Remember, Stuart McFadden is out the front. We don't really need to see Stuart. We know that he's that far ahead on the track just now. A 10.1 second lead he has in his pocket, which is sensational. Side by side, Williamson. Here is the move starting now. He's gone round the outside of the Craner Curves on Weddle. Weddle's going to have to give that position up, and McPherson goes up the inside as well. Weddle is going to lose 2 positions here, or can he keep a bit of momentum through the old hairpin? Yes, he can, as he goes under Starkey's, but that has released Williamson. He's put him onto the podium as well now, and it knocks Michael Weddle off the podium down to 4th place in the number 7 car. So it's not a Rethink Racing driver 2nd and 3rd now. It's now the Movano Sim driver who's got himself onto that podium in 3rd place. But I fear for Michael Weddle. I feel a little bit more that this is going to be a McPherson manoeuvre towards the end of this race. McPherson does look strong on the brakes down towards this Robert chicane as they come in. Again through the corner there. Williamson carries great corner speed through there. Remember, he's been caught out there already by going in too quickly, and he won't want to do that again as he comes down towards Redgate. Little jink out just to try and unnerve Jack Eyre there. That's all that was for. That wasn't a manoeuvre that he was trying to do. He was just trying to upset the flow of Jack Eyre. But now Michael Weddle's flashing the lights at Williamson. These are all tricks of the trade, but really they don't do too much as John Higgins is in 9th place still. Scott Smith in 10th. Robert McGregor. Robert McGregor, where did he start again? Remind me of that. He's now 11th. So Robert McGregor's come up maybe 13 or 14 places in this. This is a sensational drive for Robert McGregor. As we pick up with John Duncan going through the old hairpin, who is James McIntosh. Is battling with James McIntosh right now. He goes round outside of the RPM driver. But with 40 minutes, 20 seconds off the race on, McFadden might just get another lap as he comes through. Yep, McFadden has already got to the chicane. And this is your leader going on to the last lap. The very American white flag waves there. And Stuart McFadden is on a mission. Jack Eyre, what have you got for the last lap, Jackie boy? Because all over the back of him, just coming up alongside him right now is Fraser Williamson. Williamson's going to try and be brave and go round the outside here. Can he get a cut back through the corner? No, he can't. He's trying to hold on to this round the outside. This is a brave manoeuvre. Weddle, where are you going to go? Who are you going to support through the top of Hollywood? He's sitting right in the middle of them. They're side by side as he comes towards creating the curves. Jack Eyre holds it on the outside, but Williamson trying to be brave on the brakes. He's giving a bit of room on the inside. This is brilliant sim racing, and Williamson completes the move at the old hairpin, and Jack Eyre is about to be clotheslined by Weddle and McPherson as they go through the Schwartz curve up to McLean's. A little look up the inside from Michael Weddle there on Fraser Williamson, but not to be. It's all closing up there as they go through McLean's up towards Coppice. Weddle looks like he's on the inside of Williamson. Williamson's left the door open, and through Coppice they come. Okay, it's slipstream down the straight. Now the two Rethink drivers working together as Stuart McFadden leaves the last corner, weaves towards the line. A dominant 10-second victory for McFadden, and Weddle goes up the inside. Can he stop it? No, he can't. He can't stop it. Williamson goes round the outside. They're heading towards the line. It's going to be Fraser Williamson who takes that one. But our timing screen just now tells us it's Michael Weddle by, well, I'd hate to think by how much. But McFadden, Weddle and Williamson is the podium with Jack Eyre, Michael McPherson and Rory Bryant, who was all over that at the end. 7th place for McKinley, Cameron Ritchie in 8th. Higgins and Smith round out the top 10. Everybody stops after the checker flag. That was a sensational battle for the second and third steps on the podium. We have to remember, though, and we have to give massive credit to our race winner who was gone at the front, Stuart McFadden. We've also got Cameron Ritchie, John Higgins Jr. S in 9th place, Scott Smith in 10th place, and I think Robert McGregor was one of the most improved drivers. He's coming home in 11th place from his starting spot. So the grid for race number 2 is exactly the same as the finishing order for race number 1. And I'll grab a quick pencil and write down a couple of numbers for the possibilities of the Reese Motorsport Insurance Driver of the Day. Great coverage given to us here at the SMRC eSports Racing Summer Cup by Sim Broadcast, live partner for your next Sim broadcast. They are great guys, keep us up to date with everything that's going on. And of course, it's covered by Reese Motorsport Insurance, which we do quite like that. The grid set, race number 2. It's about to happen. Will this be another McFadden benefit? Let's see what happens. We're waiting on the lights coming on. McFadden on pole. Weddle on second. Williamson on third. Williamson, he had a good shot at that second place, but just drifted away towards the end coming out of that chicane. 3 lights, 4, 5, full comp on the lights, and down we go to the red gate again. McFadden with another trademark good start, but Michael Weddle looks like he's actually holding his own this time as McFadden cuts across the front. Really, it's going to have to take somebody to have a go at Stuart McFadden on the run down towards the first corner. Let's see how much of a lead he can open out over this first lap. As you go through the top of Hollywood, we wait for everybody to try and sort themselves out in the background. And Weddle looks like he's in a safe second place just now. Fraser Williamson up there instead of Jack Eyre. Weddle runs wide at the old hairpin. Now that could possibly be cold tyres, and Scott Smith follows him off in sympathy there. And that has been a bit of a disaster for those two guys. Weddle goes from 2nd down to 8th place. He's got to have his work cut out now, is Michael Weddle, but we know he's got the pace. He showed that there, and there's somebody off in the background. That looked like it was Jackie Chalmers, and was it Wyness? Stuart Wyness and Jackie Chalmers at the back. So Stuart gets himself out of the gravel and the tire and back on, and let's hope Jackie can as well. Anyway, down towards the chicane for the first time. I'm already banging the desk because I can't quite believe the lead that McFadden's got. James McIntosh in the wars on the straight there. That's a strange place to be in the wars, but look at the lead. After one lap, McFadden comes across the line. 1.9 seconds is the lead. Everybody will be scratching their head at this one, as Cameron Ritchie goes through in a fine 8th place just now. Let's look for our most improved driver after race number 1, Robert McGregor. Robert McGregor has just dropped from 10th. Now, what's happening to Robert McGregor on the timing screens here? He's slow going through Hollywood. McGregor is in trouble going through the crane of curves. And that's, he's obviously had a happening at Redgate. Easy for me to say, as Andrew McKinley now goes off going through Starkey's up towards the Schwartz curve in the iconic Gulf colour scheme. Now, that was round about Michael Weddle, who's already back up to 5th place, dropped in a couple of slots. There's people jumping about the timing screen. I think, side-by-side contact in towards Coppice, and it's Weddle, and it's just not working for Michael Weddle here. Mark Hearn involved in that. Now, I think Michael Weddle was maybe trying to give a place or two back there, and he's caused a possible little bottleneck up. Whether we can see a replay of that from maybe the blimp or an onboard, but something definitely going wrong there. And John Duncan seems to be sporting quite a bit of front-end damage on his white and yellow 24 car. Yeah, look at that. Down towards Redgate he comes. That's going to be handling like a truck now, to tell you the truth. And it's going to be gulping in air in all the wrong places for JD Bear. Still, Robert McGregor loses positions. He's now down to 19th place, just ahead of David Bolton in 20th. And oh yeah, we forgot about this guy, the Pure Sims racer at the front. He's almost kicked into demonstration mode again, hasn't he? Joe McFadden, 2.6 seconds up the road, showing us exactly how you drive a TCR Audi around the Donington National Circuit. Fraser Williamson, though, this time in 2nd place with clear tarmac, clear air, and Jack Air behind him. That was a link that kind of worked, that wasn't thought about, it just happened. I'll make myself giggle. What do you think of that, Andy? Oh, sorry, you're not here this week. Neither you are. Down the straight we come. Looking further back, where's Rory Bryant? 5th place just now for Rory Bryant in number 27, and he is ahead of Cameron Ritchie. And John Higgins up to 7th place, so good going for Junior just now. Let's hope he can hold that towards the end of the race. Sam Corson, 14th place. Now, there's a bit of head scratching going on there for this guy because it just isn't working this season in either of the cars. The Global MX-5, Sam was so unlucky and so many times getting tagged, getting turned, all sorts of things going wrong, and now he finds himself down in 14th place in the TCR Audi as McKinley lines up a manoeuvre on Mark Heron in number 91 as they go through the top of the crane of curves in towards the old hairpin. And we do like the colour scheme. The commentary team all like that Gulf colour scheme. It's very iconic. And it's starting to make a comeback on quite a few cars now. As, well, Jack Air is now all over the back bumper of Fraser Williamson. The Movano Sims driver has got a rearview mirror full of Jack. And that's not something you really want. Jack, with a better run through Coppice, just decides to... He's either sitting in the slipstream or doing a legend and bump drafting him down the straight there. I feel the second was the right one. He locks up the back brakes there. Well saved, Jack Air. Big hit of the brake pedal, and effectively it looked like he pulled the handbrake on. The brakes at the back locking up. He catches it sideways. And did he maybe drop a wheel on the grass on the way in there, actually? That would possibly make you... That would seem right if he drops a wheel over the white line so close to the car in front, and he's now wide at the top of Redgate as well. So Jack giving himself a bit of a fright, but manages to hold on to that as we pick up with our leader coming through the old hairpin. It's Stuart McFadden. And let us know what you think of Stuart McFadden. There are various ways you can get in contact with us and pick the means that you want to do it and drop us a note. Just don't phone me, for goodness sakes. As we look at Rory Bryant coming through Starkey's Bridge now. Rory keeping himself pretty much on his on the track as the reminder comes up for the Reese Motorsport Insurance Driver of the Day. Who will it be? It doesn't necessarily need to be the person who wins. Last week, if you remember, Scott Malcolm picked up the award for being easily the most improved driver. He was giving us brilliant racing, and he got himself right up towards the sharp end. And when he come in for a bit of a chat after it, he said he had no idea how it happened. But I don't see Scott with us this week. I think he actually said last week in an interview that he wasn't going to be there for this week. So as we have a little look at lap times now, fastest lap of the race for Stuart McFadden is a 112.2. 112.2, he's done a 112.3 on the last lap round. Jack Eyre has done a 112.5, so he's very much in there and up to second place now. So he's managed to wriggle his way past Fraser Williamson after that increased kind of pressure he was putting him under. Mark Hearn's come up 9 places in this race. Yeah, it just looks like Fraser got a bit of a bad exit from the chicane. Mirror signal manoeuvre for Jack. As we come back down towards the bottom of Starkey's Bridge now, up towards the Schwantz curve, that is Michael McPherson. And Michael McPherson, all on his own, but currently in a 4th place. Scott Smith, well, what could have been for Scott Smith, finds himself down in 17th place just now. And he'll be trying to do as much as he can for a comeback drive, but to come back from 17th isn't going to be easy as Heron looks up the inside of Weddle. That's a manoeuvre. Weddle's going to turn across the nose of the 91 car. He does. And then that lets Andrew McKinley in there with a chance as they come down the back straight. In the blimp cam we go. JD Bear, John Duncan is the next car, the 4th car in that train, still with a lot of damage and really putting up a good fight with all that damage in the front end of that car. The white car with the yellow flashes and yellow wheels, you can see the front of it. It's not very pretty, but there you go. I never said that about John himself. You guys are thinking it. Big pause for effect here as a car pulls into the pit lane. Who is that? That's Sean Doby in the Harlequin car, we're going to call it. Sean, obviously with a bit of an issue, decides enough is enough. That looks like Jackie Chalmers is in there as well, and Stuart Winus. Yeah, after they're coming together quite early in the race. John Higgins, 6th place. I can hear his dad getting ready to phone me right now. He will be waxing lyrical in the messaging system if John can hold on to this one. An extremely proud dad of how his son races and looks after what he does. And John Higgins himself, John, one of the most accomplished legend racing drivers the UK has ever had. Thankfully I never had to race against him, because that would have been quite tricky. As we go on board with Martin Buchan in the lovely livery, that's Scott Smith trying to go up the inside into Coppice, and Scott Smith gets Nathan Lamond on the inside, and a really opportunistic manoeuvre from Martin Buchan. He's going to pick up the slipstream from Scott Smith, but he's getting squeezed from Nathan there down the back straight. Jonathan Glover, sorry, I'm getting a bit confused there. Jonathan Glover in the yellow car, and Glover not willing to give up that position. He really fought very hard for that. And credit to Jonathan Glover there for getting his sleeves rolled up and making Martin Buchan work for that. As they go down towards the first corner, we've got Robert McGregor with a comeback drive happening now as well. Just trying to go around the outside of Buchan, and he's going to make that manoeuvre stick as they go round through Redgate and Hollywood. That was a good manoeuvre from Buchan there. He will be liking that one from McGregor, sorry. McGregor, we don't know what happened to him earlier on, but he dropped down the order pretty quickly after something at Redgate. But anyway, forgot about this man again. That really is terrible. The Pure Sims number 53 racing driver, it is Stuart McFadden, and he is away at the front with a 5.8 second lead in his pocket over Jack Eyre and Fraser Williamson now down towards the Robert chicane. Big sausage curb there on the way in. Trying not to hit the sausage curb on the second part of it, because that's going to affect the drive when you're trying to get the power on. So it's a lot of curb at the first part, and then just use all the blue on the second part. Sam Corson, 11th place for Sam now, ahead of John Duncan, who must surely be starting to struggle as we go into the last 5 minutes of the race. Back towards Scott Smith, Jonathan Glover. Scott's pulled away from Jonathan, but McGregor, Buchan still in there. And David Bolton, where are you? There you are there, David Bolton. Bolton with a 1:14.096. Trying his best to just get on the back as Glover's gone off at the exit of Redgate. And he will be ruining that little mistake. Couple of wheels on the grass, lose all your drive. And then a couple of cars come past you. in a heartbeat, bucking a little bit sideways through the old hairpin. That's going to hurt his momentum as they come up through Starkey's Bridge. Donington is such a momentum circuit. It's such a flowing circuit. You can't be sliding sideways through corners and scrubbing off speed, because you can see just exactly what happens. Positions get lost so easily and so quickly. And everybody lapping up pretty much the same lap time, apart from Stuart McFadden, who just has something else in his pocket, as we see him at the top of the screen disappearing out of shot. And what has Michael McPherson got now? What has he got left as we come into the last 4 minutes of this race? McPherson sits in 4th place, a 1:12.571. His fastest lap of the race last time round, and comfortably quicker than Eyre and Williamson. He seems to come good and strong at the end of the races, does Michael McPherson, as Mark Hearn runs off the road, and Cameron Ritchie and Andrew McKinley both managed to make their manoeuvres felt and get past, going through the top of Hollywood and then the Crater Curves. Line astern through the old hairpin. Number 41. That's the snap-on car of Cameron Ritchie up towards Schwantz Curve. And Michael Weddle is just up the road from Cameron now. Michael still ruining that first lap error at the bottom of the old hairpin. And I've got to say, it was an unforced error. He just went in there, possibly with cold tyres, and it didn't go from the turn into the apex as he was expecting. And off he went. And off he went was McFadden onto another lap now. What has Jack Eyre got? Can he hold this? Because look at the speed that Michael McPherson carried through that chicane there, up towards the back of Williamson. Williamson side by side, down the straight, in towards Redgate. He's along the inside. He makes a manoeuvre stick. And that's a place gained for Williamson. And it looks like he almost stopped the car mid-corner to stop Eyre getting the cut back through the corner as a damaged John Duncan comes down towards first corner now. John slipping down through the pack, down to 12th place. Ryan Smith behind him in 13th. And Nathan Lamond in 14th place in 2-2-2. Meanwhile, this battle still rages down through Starkey's, up through the Schwantz Curve, and McPherson is now a force to be reckoned with in this one. Jack Eyre wants to hold on to a podium. Preferably, he would like to get ahead of Williamson, but he can see the incoming junior, and that is McPherson, car number 16. These guys are still 6.8 seconds off the back. And that's Cameron Ritchie. Cameron Ritchie's heading off at McLean's corner. And has he gone off with somebody? Because Andrew McKinley drops down the sheets as well. Let's get a replay. In towards... Oh, McKinley goes up the inside. There's contact made. McKinley spins round. And unfortunately, Cameron Ritchie, no fault of his own there. Just nowhere for him to go. McKinley will get himself out of the gravel trap as we're 13 minutes into this race. Stuart McFadden will be looking at that timer thinking, if I slow down enough, we'll have to do another lap. Yes is the answer. There's been a position change for third, and it's McPherson. He's managed to get past and through on Jack Eyre, so Jackie has now slipped from the podium spots. Down to 4th place for number 13, Jack Eyre, and look at the speed that young McPherson carries through the heart of the old hairpin. Jack Eyre matches him on the run through Starkey's Bridge, up through Schwantz Curve, into McLean's. This is where we saw the McKinley and Ritchie incident a minute ago. You won't be falling asleep at this, guys. This is a battle that will be keeping you very much on your toes as we come up towards Coppice. 14 minutes, 20 seconds gone. We will have one more lap. And they're more spaced out now than they have been for quite some considerable time. As they go past the museum in towards the chicane. Williamson over the kerb. McPherson over the kerb. And Weddle is now making a manoeuvre on John Higgins Jr. Higgins Jr. extremely hot into the corner there. Can he manage to get that stopped and through? He can. What a speed. What a run through the corner for John Higgins Jr. That might have just saved him that 6th place, because it's going to be one big lap that Weddle has to throw at it to catch back up with him as we come back up to 2nd, 3rd and 4th now. They're down through the Craner Curves. Williamson needs to put the most perfect lap together here to stop young Michael McPherson catching and being in shooting distance, shall we say. And likewise, McPherson has got behind him. You can see Jack Eyre looks closer to Michael McPherson than McPherson is towards Williamson. Having said that, look at the mid-corner closing speed there from number 16. He just pops out just to try and put Fraser off a bit, and that's not going to happen. Fraser has been here before and he knows that he gets out of this corner, he's okay. McPherson, no, needs to defend down that straight as we go back towards our leader. He comes through the final chicane. It's going to be 2-2 for Stuart McFadden as he crosses the line. Jack Eyre going up the inside into the last chicane. I saw that in the background. Jack Eyre, can he make that count for the last step on the podium? Yes, he can. Great move from Jack Eyre. Williamson takes second. Jack Eyre takes third place. And he looks delighted with that one. Michael McPherson, fourth place. Rory Bryant in fifth place. The rest all come through with Michael Weddle just managing to muscle past ahead of John Higgins Jr. Sam Corson, with what a drive, gets himself back up to 8th place with Mark Heron and John Duncan. Now, that's plus 16 places for Sam Corson. That is a drive and a half. As we look further down, other people improving. Martin Buchan came up 7 places. Davy Bolton came up 8. And John Proctor and Russell Wheatley both improving 3 and 4 places as well. So for the next race, Sam Corson will find himself on pole position. Now, we've said the luck's not gone Sam's way. The luck is about to go Sam's way. So we are going to have a quick look at the results now. McFadden, he takes it. He takes the victory. He's down as a privateer. He's normally the pure Sims racing driver. But McFadden, Williams and Eyre are your top 3 with McPherson, Bryant, Weddle, Higgins, Corson, Heron and Duncan rounding out the top 10. And remember, the top 8 reverse. So it will be a front row start for Corson and Higgins. 2 of the young hard chargers. John Higgins Jr. is about to make his real-life racing debut as well at Brands Hatch, if I'm not mistaken. He will be racing... When will he be racing? Is it August? I think so. We'll catch up with that at some other time, though. There you go. We have got a couple of minutes break now until we come back with the next one. So I think if it's not too bad, we'll have a little commercial if we have one. But remember, all thoughts for the commentary box here and the Sim broadcast team are going towards the Reese Motorsport Insurance Specialist Driver of the Day. Who are we thinking so far? Well, Robert McGregor, after race number 1, was pretty impressive. Sam Corson, 16 places improved in that race. If Sam Corson can make it work in the last race here, the final as it would be, or race number 3, who knows? He could be on our hit list. But then again, if you get 3 out of 3 on a day, that's going to be pretty impressive as well. So we'll be back in a couple of minutes' time with the third race of the day from the SMRC eSports Summer Cup here, presented by Sim Broadcast, a series by the SMRC and powered by Reese Motorsport Insurance. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Commentator here has lubricated his throat and ready to go. Nothing but water, I would like to point that out. Race number 3 is just about to start. We're about a minute away from the start of race number 3, and we know that Sam Corson is on the front row of the grid, and we know that John Higgins Jr. is alongside him. But who are we thinking about for the Reese Motorsport Insurance Driver of the Day? Who will take that honour? Well, I won't curse anybody just yet, but I have mentioned 2 drivers that we're keeping an eye on, McGregor and Corson. Corson is on pole for this one, but let's keep our eyes firmly in the pack as well for Robert McGregor. He obviously had a good comeback drive there, even though he had a bit of an off again at Redgate. Donington Park, though, a circuit that's now operated by MSV, and it's been an institution. It goes all the way back, the roots and the heritage, all the way back to the auto unions racing around here in the 30s. It is a brilliant place. It really is. It's a driver circuit, it's a rider circuit, and it's also a great spectator circuit. So if you get a chance, make sure you go and visit Donington Park and make sure you get there. Or if you can't get there, you can always watch it on the SMRC eSports Summer Cup. Corson and Higgins at the front row of the grid with Michael Weddle and Rory Bryant, row number 2. Best mates on row 2. Love seeing that. Then we've got McPherson in the air with Williamson and McFadden, the danger man. Mark Heron, John Duncan, Ryan Smith and Nathan Lamond, 11th and 12th. That second row of the grid's mighty good, though. Cameron Ritchie and Scott Smith are 13th and 14th, with Robert McGregor, Martin Buchan, David Bolton, Jonathan Glover, Russell Wheatley and Dale Smith down to 20th, James McIntosh all the way down there on 21st, John Proctor 22nd, Sean Doby and Stuart Wyness, after a collision with Andrew McKinley and Jackie Chalmers, who went off very early as well. So here we go. Buckle down. We're about to go racing. Waiting for the lights to come on. We have got the lights in front of us. Here we go. It's between Corson and Higgins. The run down to the first corner, and away they go. And it looks good starts from everybody. There's no wheel spin or smoke, and it does look a little bit. Look at Stuart McFadden on the outside, down the white line there, and also Jack Ayre splitting everybody, and it looks like Higgins could possibly get this, but Corson on the inside will hold that, or has he pinched that too tight there? Oh, there's a coming together, and off goes Cameron Ritchie at the exit off turn number 1 into the gravel trap, still side by side for the lead, and it's Higgins who hits the front as they come down towards the old hairpin. Higgins ahead of Corson as Weddle up at the second place now because Corson's gone off. So it's just not working for Sam Corson as they're about 3 or 4 wide. Rory Bryant sideways across. Is that Fraser Williamson? It is. Williamson into the wall hard. Rory Bryant caught up in that as well. And I've got to say, Fraser Williamson taken out there by a spinning Rory Bryant. Now let's see what happened to that one. Bryant comes through here. What does he do? What does he do? Rory drops a wheel over the curb, wipes Fraser out, bosh, into the concrete wall. Bryant very lucky not to get collected by, I think that was Jonathan Glover. And the cars parked next to each other on the straight there. But that's a disaster for the championship for Fraser Williamson. Oh, Weddle takes off John Higgins Jr. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. As they leave the last corner, Higgins Jr. goes from the front to the tyre barrier, and that definitely warrants a replay. Weddle will be sporting a bit of damage on the front left there. And McPherson's at the front. And Weddle now has Jack Ayre off. So that's 2 Rethink drivers coming together at the exit of Redgate. And I can just hear the team manager just now furiously typing away in my ears as Fraser Williamson does leave the pit lane after the damage. And let's pick up on that. Through they come, and, well, off goes Higgins into the barrier quite hard and firmly there. He was very much ahead from what I could see, but Weddle did have a slight overlap, but a little breathe in the throttle pedal and both cars would have still been going. Then what happened here? Jack Ayre's quite a bit in front. Oh, he has to check up for Sam Corson, and then Michael Weddle drives into him. So that was just a bit of a racing incident there. A great shame for Sam Corson. It's not working out, and yeah, 3 Rethink drivers all caught up in a shunt. Now, who's leading the race? Yeah, Michael McPherson is leading the race as they come through the chicane. And he's leading it from Mark Heron. Brilliant drive so far from Mark Heron, keeping himself out of trouble. And oh dear, danger is lurking in third place though. Stuart McFadden is on the... He's managed to avoid all those shenanigans of Stuart McFadden. And he's now coming through the field. as we pick up with Martin Buchan, and just behind Martin Buchan, that's Nathan Lamond in 222. Then Ryan Smith on the inside of him on 94. And, well, the final has given us all the action that a final always does give us, unfortunately. Every time we get to the third race of the day, crash, bang, wallop, and some good drivers just end up on the wrong side of the receiving end of things as McFadden takes us up through Swanskirk. Bit of oversteer correction on the way into the corner, and through McLean's we go. As we climb up towards Coppice Corner, let's just ride on board with him through here and down the battery. Let's see if he gets a tow or a slipstream from Mark Heron. Listen to the gear change. Oh, did he change or did he hold that in the limiter? Difficult for me to see there. Big bit of curb on the way in. Don't touch the sausage curb on the way through. Mark Heron, pretty good through there. Mark Heron actually pulls on the exit of the corner. So good to see that. But McFadden is very much there now. Best lap for McFadden so far. A 112.3, 112.9 for Michael McPherson, and a 13 flat for Mark Heron in front. Ooh, goes a little bit wide there. And McFadden trying to go around the outside. Stuart has the pace. He just needs to be clever about when he tries to pass, because he could put himself in a bit of trouble here. And Williamson, he's seen his championship rivals fall by the wayside as Heron runs a little bit wide through the old hairpin and just opens the door, and through goes Stuart McFadden as they go through Starkey's Bridge and up towards Swanskirk. I was just waiting to see what happened there. And Sam Corson's still in 4th place after being on pole position, but unfortunately it's just not worked out for these guys, has it? Michael Weddle behind him, and then Robert McGregor in 6th place. Now Robert McGregor is having a standout race meeting. There he is there in the MSR car. He's seen his teammate John Higgins volley off the tyre wall, or the recticel at the exit of the Robert chicane, and Robert McGregor, after getting 14 places in one race, he was one of the guys I was keeping my eyes on for the Reese Motorsport Driver of the Day, but that chicane definitely isn't going to help your cause, because Martin Buchan's going to get a good run through the chicane. Now Robert McGregor defends down the straight towards Redgate Corner. He'll hold the inside line, so really he holds all the cards, and Buchan will try and go around the outside, but it's not to be. He uses his head, he tries to cut back in behind Robert, and that was something that was very much needed there, because he knows he's under pressure from the fast, hard-charging John Duncan as well. And I'm impressed with John Duncan in 24 and Ryan Smith keeping their, well, John Duncan keeping his nose clean in this event. The cars kind of been put back together, but Ryan Smith, he's always there or thereabouts, Smithy, in number 94. Good run last year in the Scottish C1 Cup, did Ryan. And yeah, a good little driver who I do like watching on sim and in real life. There's JD Bear in 8th place, and Robert McGregor, well, he'll be ruining that little mistake because he had a nice comfortable buffer, but he's still in a very creditable 6th place just now. As the gap at the front, Stuart McFadden is now all over the back of Michael McPherson, and it's basically next to nothing. There you go, as we go through the chicane. Now, Michael McPherson can deal with pressure, that's one thing we know, but can he hold back the assault that Stuart McFadden is going to try and throw at him here? McFadden using the pit exit as a little bit of extra track to turn in through Redgate. He turns in, he's trying to go underneath. Yeah, but look at that. McPherson saw what was happening there, and that's a very, very experienced head on young shoulders there as he goes down through the crane of curves. And what he really needs to do is try and defend this for his life and almost back the pair of them up in towards Mark Heron, and then try and bring Sam Corson and that number 7 car, Michael Weddle, in towards this. As soon as McFadden gets past, he will inevitably break free. So McPherson needs to just try and slow this down and cover the exit of the corners. As he's doing, he's very, very cleverly positioning his car here. This is good. Very good defensive driving very early in the race, though. Michael won't be happy about this, but he knows the pace that McFadden's got. So he needs to cover this on the exit down the straight here. And look, you can see how Mark Heron's been brought back into this as they come down the straight past the museum in towards the chicane. This is McFadden trying, and ultimately Stuart's going to start costing himself time now. He's slow through the chicane, and Heron can get a run on him now. Here comes Heron, he ducks out, tries to go down past the pits. And that's all come about just through Michael McPherson upsetting the run that Stuart McFadden's got. Brilliant bit of defensive driving from young Michael McPherson here. I tip my hat, doff my cap to you, young man. That was brilliant, and it's done exactly what it needed to do. It's brought the other guys into the mix. McPherson using his head. Weddle is the next car behind Heron, and Stuart McFadden now needs to regroup. If you can bridge that gap back up to Michael McPherson, he needs to pounce straight away. There's no mucking about, no dilly-dallying about. And still Robert McGregor in 6th place holds off Martin Buchan. Even after that little mistake that Robert McGregor made, he's managed to put just a couple of tenths of a second the way. And Buchan hasn't got too much to answer with right now. As we look further down the field as well, we can see that Stuart Wyness is having a very good run in this as well. But look, already back up towards the back of him at the front. McPherson under pressure from McFadden. But again, he defends in towards the chicane. Through they come. They go right, then they go left on the exit. And Michael McPherson will just stay on that right-hand side of the road. He'll let Stuart McFadden pull out, and Michael Weddle has now made a move on Mark Hearn behind him, up the inside into Redgate, tries McFadden, but it's not to be. Stuart McFadden, you can sense the desperation and the urgency now as Michael McPherson holds the inside, but McFadden, there's side-by-side contact through the top of Hollywood. McFadden repays the favour as they go through. Crater curves are side-by-side contact. That's getting a little bit risky now, chaps. McFadden hits the front, but it's rough and tumble manoeuvre to get there as they go through Starkey's Bridge up towards the Swans Curve. If McPherson could have just held McFadden back for another couple of corners, Weddle, who's already got a sniff of that, would have been right there. So McFadden was squeezed at the top of Hollywood. He didn't like that. And I've got to say, he laid it quite thickly into the door of young Michael going through the kind of curves. And great bit of recovery driving from McPherson holding that on the track. But McFadden has got to the front in true touring car style. Number 53 leads from number 16 and number 7. And they're not giving up yet. Michael Weddle is involved in this as well. And McPherson's been passed once round the outside here. Is he going to let that happen again? I very much doubt it. But he's giving Michael Weddle just enough room to play with there. As Mikey comes through, and McFadden runs a little bit wide, actually. It's the first time I've seen Stuart McFadden make a real driver error. All race meeting as Sam Corson now, all over the back of Mark Hearn, tries to go up the inside of the kind of curves, but he was just a little bit too far back there. As we're now 10 minutes gone in this 15-minute race number 3, we look back towards 222 Nathan Lamond. And Stuart Wyness, David Bolton. There's Jonathan Glover goes through in the yellow and blue car. I was about to say the flying banana, but that's not quite fair, is it? Although it does make me snigger a little bit. Sorry, Jonathan. We've got Russell Wheatley in 4th place, and the recovering John Higgins in 15th place. He'll probably be desperate to get back to the Park Fermi and grab Michael Weddle as they come up towards Coppice Corner. Robert McGregor is hanging on for his life here in this 6th place because Martin Buchan really is piling on the pressure as they come down towards chicane. McGregor on the inside, Buchan on the outside, so all chicane aces are in the hands of McGregor as he goes through that corner down towards Redgate again. It goes downhill there and starts to climb as you get back up towards Redgate there. Let's have a little look further down. Who have we got? Who have we got? Sean Doby's just going ahead of John Higgins Jr. Fraser Williamson in 18th place after being in and out the pits. And John Higgins has just retired to pit lane as I look at the timing screen. And he has cried enough at that. He won't be happy with how that's unfolded. But his teammate, he needs to be cheering on right now because Robert McGregor in 6th place in car 117, who's behind Sam Corson but ahead of, well, it says John Duncan on the screen, but it's actually Martin Buchan behind him. In fact, it's not, it's John Duncan. Sorry, I take that back completely. I've been looking too much at the timing screens. That is Martin Buchan, who's behind John Duncan. So JD Baer with Ryan Smith for company behind him now. But McFadden still leads from McPherson and Weddle. Weddle has definitely come through the pack to get up towards the back of McPherson, but McPherson will be back in defensive mode as Lamond holds off Stuart Wyness, or tries to, down towards the chicane. Stuart Wyness, very clever manoeuvre there. He was going to get a good run through the corner and pop out from the back of the 222 car of Nathan Lamond. And look at this, rubbing, racing down towards Redgate. McGregor under increasing pressure. John Duncan trying to go around the outside. McGregor sends it towards the apex in full defensive send mode. and manages to hold that. And because of that, John Duncan now has Buchan side by side through the top of Hollywood, and he just has to pop into the back of that manoeuvre. So Buchan retakes the position which he lost to John Duncan, and Ryan Smith now has a look at the inside at the old hairpin. But the old hairpin is that quicker corner. You really, really have to have the manoeuvre lined up before that one there. Yeah, Martin Buchan was, as we're looking at this paint scheme, thankfully there's no NASCAR donuts in it, but I have noticed that the red wing mirror is on the green side and the green wing mirror is on the red side. So we'll maybe point out to him later on. Maybe it's meant to be like that. We'll leave him alone though, because he's very much in the heat of a battle with Robert McGregor. And through the chicane for one more time, it's Mr. 100%. 3 out of 3 beckons for this man, and still McPherson holds off Michael Weddle as they come down towards Redgate Corner for, they will get another lap after this one. This will be the penultimate lap, or as Murray Walker would say, the last lap but one, as they go through the top of Hollywood in towards the Crane of Curves. My palms are getting quite sweaty in the commentary box here. You won't want to know what I'm up to, but this is starting to get quite interesting as they come in towards the old hairpin. Weddle definitely has the pace, but Michael McPherson, as Michael Weddle is well aware of, is a renowned national racer, and he knows what he's doing into the race car. He knows how to lead from the front, and he knows how to defend when needs be. If Weddle had just been that little bit closer, when he could see McPherson was trying to disrupt the rhythm that Stuart McFadden had earlier on, Weddle would have pounced all over that. But sacre bleu, such is life, it wasn't to be. He's now in a battle, Weddle on the podium, but he's battling for possible second place. Down the straight we come. McFadden will cross the line with round about 10 seconds to go by my counting on my fingers. Let's watch this now, maybe 15. He crosses the line, and now, yeah, so this is the last lap that we go on to, and Stuart McFadden looks very comfortable in the lead, but Michael McPherson doesn't look comfortable at all, because Michael Weddle is all over the back of him. As you can understand, that's not a comfortable situation for any human being to be in, as they go through Redgate and out towards the top of Hollywood for one last time. Mikey will keep it clean because he's had a bit of a damaging last race here. He's thinking about the move into the old hairpin, but McPherson covers that one as they go through the old hairpin. McPherson not too quickly, but there's just no room in the end. There's nowhere for Weddle to go. He's trying to go underneath him through Schwanzkopf, but the ball comes firmly back into the court of McPherson because he's on the inside for McLean's corner. Through McLean's they come, carrying a good bit of speed up towards Coppice. This is where McPherson needs to then run Weddle out wide, so Weddle has to almost have a little lift, and down the back straight they will go. It will be side by side down towards the chicane, but ultimately Weddle with a bit of a run down the back straight. He could possibly do this if he's brave on the brakes, but up the inside comes McPherson. Just lets off the brake pedal. Weddle, what a manoeuvre from Weddle as McFadden takes 3 out of 3, spins it across the line, and Michael Weddle comes through and steals second place from Michael McPherson, and then runs out of talent on the run down to Redgate. And what a brilliant race that was. Stuart Wyness with a fabulous comeback through the field with Ryan Smith and Nathan Lamond as well. Robert McGregor, though, in 6th place. I have to say it's going to be my Reese Motorsport Insurance Driver of the Day, chaps. Fabulous drive from Robert McGregor in the first and that last race. Huge places and huge improvement in the style of Robert McGregor. But it's McFadden who wins from Michael Weddle, from Michael McPherson and Mark Herron, the top 4. Sam Corson in 5th place, Robert McGregor in 6th place, Martin Buck in 7th with the groovy paint job for this one, ahead of John Duncan. And let's just see some of the incidents that happened there. That's Jack Eyre. And yeah, that was Jack Eyre, and if I'm not mistaken, Michael Weddle, after Sam Corson checked up, though. And this is us seeing our Reese Motorsport Insurance Driver of the Day. Actually, there he is, and he was all in the middle of that, and he had to avoid all of that, and he'll be delighted with that one. He really will be, and he deserves that as well. Robert McGregor, easy for me to say. MSR driver takes the Reese Motorsport Insurance Driver of the Day goodie bag. Well, that was a bit of a race 3. Sim Broadcast doing a cracking job keeping us up to speed with everything that was happening. Live stream partner for your sim racing event for the SMRC Summer Cup. What we'll do now is the waiting room is starting to fill up. So if I maybe unmute myself in Discord, we could start to get some guys in and find out just exactly how their evening went. I think we should possibly take Mr. 3 out of 3 in first of all. Stuart McFadden, sensational stuff there. Young Mr. McFadden, come on, just give us a glimmer. What are you doing in that car that makes you so good? Congratulations on 3 standout victories. Great driving.
I wish I could answer your question, but I don't really have an answer for you.
No, that final was a difficult one, though. You had to try and dodge many cars which were speeding off the road in all shapes and sizes and directions. But ultimately, you also probably saw some of your championship rivals having a hard time there.
What's up? I don't look at what. Where did Fraser finish?
Fraser 17th.
Oh, that's absolutely fantastic. I like Fraser.
I'm pretty sure Fraser's not thinking that.
No, the race was really, really difficult. I never got a chance to do any race runs in practice. So race 1 and race 2 were kind of test sessions to see how the tyre lasts at the end of the race. Because obviously Donington Park, with the long nature of the corners, it's really does stress the front tyre a lot, and with the hot conditions, they do tend to drop off. So knowing from what I'd learned in race 1 and 2, I knew that there was a peak time where the tyre performed and then it dropped off. I lost a couple of tenths during the end of the race, so I knew I had to kind of make my moves in the kind of mid to end of the race, or 3/4 of the way through. But tell you what, Michael McPherson, absolutely stellar defending. I honestly love that. But eventually, I know every trick in the book. I've been doing this a long time, so I knew what he was doing, and I eventually got back past him. He tried his best to not let me get past. It was really fun, but I gave him what he gave out, so it's all good.
Did you see him trying to back everybody? He was trying to. It was upsetting your rhythm, trying to get the other guys almost involved. If you could slow you down enough, could you see that was happening?
Oh, 100%. When parking in the apexes, just every. But fair play, like there's nothing wrong with that at all. That's just racing. They do it in all the way up to the touring cars. They park it in the apex and back everybody up, and then everyone else tries to attack. What happened? I don't know who was alongside me, but it definitely does put you off. But I managed to regain my focus really, really quickly.
We're seeing a replay here. We're seeing a replay of you getting kind of just. In fact, he was actually sideways, and then you just caught a little bit of him. But it was like that for you guys for a couple of laps. It was good racing. It's hard racing, and no, congratulations on another three standout victories, mate. Honestly, you're class of the field. We'll look forward to seeing you at Silverstone.
Well, I won't be at Silverstone. This is my last event. I've been accepted at the RAF, and my training starts 2 weeks today. So this is my last event, and I've went out with a bang. So
congratulations, yeah.
The correct bang, not a crash bang.
Yeah, give us a flyby at Silverstone, will you?
Hopefully, it depends on how much it costs.
Yeah, thank you very much, man. We'll catch up with you later on.
Yeah, we'll do it. Thank you, guys.
Cheers. Okay, Pete, let's get our driver of the day in, shall we, Pete? Here he is. The Reese Motorsport Insurance driver of the day.
How are you doing, guys?
Oh, no, sorry, it's Robert McGregor. I'm only kidding, Robert. Congratulations, mate, honestly.
Thank you.
Brilliant driving. You deserved that, and you were under a lot of pressure there, but also you made a huge amount of places in race number 1, and, as an improvement goes, that was definitely a good weekend.
Yeah, can't really complain, can I? Race 1 was a bit of a kind of, I wouldn't say crash fest in front of me, but I got lucky with a couple of passes and a couple of places, really. Second race didn't go well for me. I just kind of lost all meaning of driving. And then third race was, I just got myself into rhythm again. But yeah, I can't complain with that, I'm looking forward to the next round as well. I'd also like to give John Higgins a shout out because he's been pestering me for one, so I better put one in there for him.
Well, yeah. How does it feel to be the top MSR driver? You know, the guy that's carrying the team along.
I would say carrying because Junior's doing his bit, but he got unlucky in the last race, I think, with just a couple of comings-togethers with people, which can happen. So I feel a bit rotten for him, but I wouldn't say carrying the team. I think we all do our part, and we're all part of what we are. You know, part of MSR. So there's nothing really that I could have done more. I wouldn't say that anyone's not doing their best. You know, especially like Junior and Aiden when he's here.
Yeah, Aiden Wilson. Yeah, did you hear the bombshell that Stuart McFadden just dropped that this is his last event?
Yeah, but I doubt I'll be winning anything. So
I love your confidence that you've got in yourself, Robert. I really do. Listen, congratulations, Reese Motorsport Insurance Driver of the day, Robert McGregor. Very well deserved. I look forward to seeing you at Silverstone, buddy. If not before.
And thanks for having me. Thanks for having me in the booth again. I'll make it more of a coming now.
It's always a pleasure.
All right, man.
A chore. I can't remember. Catch you later on, Robert.
It's a chore, I think.
Cheers, Rav. Bye bye.
Yeah.
Right, Jack here. Pete, can we get Jack here in? Because Jack surely has a story to tell us here. Jack, race number one. Brilliant race number one. Pretty good race two. And then it looks like you had to check up at the exit of Redgate, and then Mikey got in the backy and turned you around in the race three.
Yeah, it looks as though, in hindsight, I probably shouldn't have dived up the inside of Michael halfway down the start-finish straight, but his incident meant that, by the looks of it, I thought I could at least get the overlap on Michael by the time we get into the braking zone, but I was massively offline, and again, so was Sam on the outside, and it was just, 3-1, don't necessarily go. I went in a bit deep, Sam really didn't have anywhere to go, and we banged doors, and I got run over, but that's circumstantial, I don't hold it against anybody, it's just a racing incident. And these things happen, but I think the redeeming factors are absolutely race 1 and 2, like you said. It's mega fun to be so close, and even though I'm not happy with the pace, it's great fun nonetheless.
And Stuart McFadden drops a bombshell that he's been accepted into the RAF, which is brilliant, but he won't be at the last two events. So when the form guy dips out from the championship, everybody else starts licking their chops. Will we see Jack here on the top step of the podium for one of these next events?
Oh, well, if everybody does what Michael does in race 2, then we probably will. But I'm still not happy with the pace, but enjoying it a bit more. This car is always going to be this car, and I think I need to just dig deep and do my best in the Formula Series towards the end of this year. But I think Stuart going and starting his career in real life is important for him, and it makes us look faster when we're not being beaten by 10 seconds in a 15-minute race. So there are positive silver linings and everything, but I can't knock him. Stuart's a nice lad, and I've never been so happy to be beaten by somebody in my life.
Yeah, listen, Jack, thank you very much for dropping it in the commentary box. We'll see you at Silverstone. Well done, mate.
Cheers.
Thank you. We've just seen the replay for Fraser Williamson there when Rory Bryant dropped a wheel going through the start of the Schwantz curve at exit Starkey's Bridge. So let's get Fraser in. And if I don't know, Pete, if you can hear me, if we could see that replay again when Fraser's in the booth, it would be good, because Mr. Williamson, Rory Bryant just dropped a wheel over the curb, turned the car sideways, and unfortunately straight into your Movano Sims car. There was nothing you could have done there, was there? Here's a replay of it.
To be fair, I should have backed out about 3 hours ago, because I saw both of the Rethink cars with slowdowns, I'm pretty sure. So I was put myself in a bad spot anyway there. Like, I should have backed out. I was going to have to back out at some point, because it would have ended in a crash anyway.
You're being very nice about this here, I must say.
He did make that mistake, and that did happen, but we were going to crash at some point, let's be honest. Through race 2 driving like that, we were going to crash. That's just how it happened, but it happens.
Yes, so sum up. I was going to say the weekend. Sum up the evening for you here, because you had good pace. You had really good pace, and obviously starting the third race, you have to start in that reverse grid. So you and Stuart were quite deep. Did you feel you had the pace to cut through and get back to the front?
No, to be honest. The pack itself was all very close on lap time. It's just it spreads out a lot in the first few laps, it seems. based off of how aggressive you are off the start. If you're able to get forward momentum, you can not build a gap, but make sure you're in that battle for second, which is what it is. I was going to call it the lead pack, but it isn't. Battle for second. As long as you're in that battle for second, you're fine. If you drop out of it, you're not really going to get back to it unless there's a lot of scrapping, which there was, but it didn't drag anyone back to it, really.
Well, that battle for second is now going to be battle for the lead after Stuart McFadden won't be the last two races. So just saying to Jack here there, you guys must be smelling victories and looking to try and really get the championship back on side, and it is still possible.
It's still possible, but I think we might need to fix it for one of us just to win all the races to catch them back up. So if we all just start battling too hard and, start sharing the wins, I don't think anyone will catch him. He's got that large a lead.
Racing drivers don't share things very well, though, do they?
Yeah, no, but I might have to force some sharing to happen or wreck people. What are they doing?
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Fraser. We shall catch up with you at Silverstone and get some practicing. See you in a couple of weeks, pal.
Yep. Cheers, guys.
Thank you. Okay, we'll have one more if it's okay. And Pete, I'm gonna let you, Pete Butcher, who is the man behind Sim Broadcast with Mo. Pete, who do you want to bring in? You bring them in. We've got room for one more. And he drops in Michael McPherson. Michael, you're the last interview that we're having tonight. And first of all, there was huge praise heaped on you from Stuart McFadden and myself. I've got to say, that defensive bit of drive, and you knew exactly what you had to do. And you done it so well. But unfortunately, Stuart was coming through whether you kind of liked it or not, the kind of curves. But did you enjoy that? Was it good fun soaking up that pressure?
Yeah, it was good fun. I knew when I got out the front, when I think Mikey had a bit of a collision. So I didn't actually have to do much to get out there. And then knew that I didn't have the pace over Stuart. His pace is phenomenal, as we all know. But I was pretty confident I could outrace him. And then it was good. It was close. I felt like I'd kind of outraced him up to that point. And then coming down into the left-hander down the hill, I don't know. From my point of view, it was a bit dirty on Stuart's side, but I'm not bothered. It was great fun, and yeah, just hats off to Stuart. He's just like a robot in these cars. His pace is just phenomenal.
There was a good few oohs and ahs in my ear from the guys back in the commentary box back home as that happened. So you weren't alone there. You weren't alone. But I mean, you had great pace because there was I can't remember what race it is. It all rolls into one when you're the commentator. I think it was race 2. You bridged the gap. You were in 4th. You bridged that gap and you caught up with the guys. So you are starting to find your feet in this car, aren't you? Yeah,
and getting there. It's just finding the time. It's just impossible to rock up and expect to be fast when you're competing against these guys who are just, their pace is just phenomenal. And it's not even their one-off pace, it's the consistency. Like Stuart, you can just do it every lap from lap 1. So yeah, getting there, but yeah, hats off to those boys that are at the front every weekend. Hopefully get there at some point.
Listen, it's been great catching up with you. I'll look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks at Silverstone. Until then, you take care and we'll catch you later on.
That's great. Thanks, Duncan.
Thank you very much. Pete, we should maybe have one quick word with Weddle, just because he's there. I never noticed him. So, right, Michael Weddle, you've got about 30 seconds before I get pulled off this PC. Sum up your evening, please, sir.
Podium, crash, bang, wallop, podium, wallop, crash, and more crashing.
It was difficult, wasn't it? But Stuart McFadden has dropped the bombshell that he won't be back for any of the remaining races.
Woohoo!
Yeah, and you're not the only person who makes that noise. I think everyone in the field does.
I think he's just kind of shown everyone up tonight. I think his lap 1 pace is just ridiculous. He's quicker on cold tyres than we are on warm tyres. It's just not fair, really.
Oh, I can see that a bottom lip from here, Carl. I really can. But you had a good night, though. You had a good night. It was crash bang wallop, as you say. But looking ahead, good luck this weekend. The SMRC with the minis. I won't be there, but I look forward to hearing about good race meeting.
I'm sure you probably will hear it from wherever you are.
Well, as long as I don't see any papers. Thank you very much.
Cheers, guys.
We'll catch you later on. So there we go. That brings our nights to a close. This has been Donington Park, the national circuit for the SMRC eSports Summer Cup. The Reese Motorsport Insurance driver of the day, driver of the night was Robert McGregor for MSR. Join us in a couple of weeks, July the 28th at 8 o'clock, where we go round 5, Silverstone International. the new addition to the calendar. Until then, from myself, Duncan Vincent, from Andy Alston, who's not here, from Pete and from Mo, thank you very much, and we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks.